Hey Virgo, it's Empress Rose here. Welcome to your reading. These are general readings. So we take what works and we leave what doesn't, as with everything in life. And if I don't catch your wavelength or storyline on this reading, go check your other major placements. Major placements are Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. And there are innumerable websites that will help you figure that out if you don't know what those are. All right, I have two new decks. And we're starting with the Botanical of Botanical Inspirations. And then we're going to, for an idea of what kind of energies we might be dealing with here. And then we'll go to the Golden Tarot for a tarot spread. Kind of got a little chunk here, a little book here. Okay. Oh, this is one of my favorite flowers. Oh, look at this. Okay. We have a lot of my favorite flowers. So this deck, Botanical Inspirations, is based, these are Victorian era illustrations, and it's based on the Victorian era idea that all flowers had sort of a message or a spirit about them, or a message to give us. So we're going to start with one of my very favorite flowers, the peony. Prosperity and compassion. Prosperity depends more on wanting what you have than on having what you want. Okay, so we're dealing with prosperity and compassion. We could be dealing with money, work, generosity. That has like a Six of Coins vibe to me. And then we have hydrangea. Do you know, I was just someplace where hydrangeas grow wild. It was the strangest thing. It was like, how are there all these hydrangeas here just wildly out in the woods? Camping, oh my goodness. So hydrangea, thankfulness and understanding. Prosperity and compassion, thankfulness and understanding. I don't like that quote, so I'm just not going to read it to you. Here's the hydrangea in case you were curious what that is. You can read the quote if you want, if it ever focuses or not. I don't really like that quote. I love Emma Goldman, but before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. I just don't think that that's really true. Snapdragon, graciousness and benevolence. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Aesop. So here we go. Snapdragons. I love snapdragons. They're very cute. You chub their little cheeks and they go, what? It's very cool. I like it. And then we have daffodil. Also one of my favorite flowers. Rebirth and new beginnings. One of the first flowers of spring, right? So second only to crocus. New beginnings are often disguised as painful endings, Lao Tzu. So has a bit of a death card vibe to it as far as like transitions from one era of our life to another. Prosperity and compassion, thankfulness and understanding, thankfulness for understanding, graciousness and benevolence, rebirth and new beginnings. All very, very lovely Victorian ideas here. Okay. And then now we're moving on to the Golden Tarot, which is a new deck, which I connected with instantly. Some decks, I have decks that I never use because I just never connect with them. I think I do. I think I'm going to. You know, I get really excited. I like one or two cards a lot, and then the rest of them, and then the rest of them I just don't connect with. I don't understand what's going on in them. The interpretations they pull out are just really hard for me to wrap my head around or whatever, because each of these cards has a lot of possible interpretations, and it's the artist sort of pulls out what makes sense to them, and I am just not on the wavelength with some of these artists. So, yeah. But this one I like. This one's good for me. All right, Virgo, this is your past, your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, your environment, your to-do list, and your possible outcome. All right. Right out of the gate here with the naked people. So this deck is a medieval and Renaissance art collages. That's what's going on here. So lots of religious imagery, kind of intense. The messages have been really intense, a lot more, I wouldn't say negative, but specific, more specific and more intense than the other decks I usually work with. We'll see where it goes. All right, so in your recent past, you have this devil energy. There's this addictive energy. Addiction, devil is things that bedevil us, things that bother us, things that prevent us from, keep us from our union with ourselves, with our higher selves. So this is why the devil card is often shown as addiction, because that's something that can really interfere with your ability to listen to your intuition, to hear your intuition, to follow your intuition, and to follow the calling of your higher self forward to these things. So in your recent past, the devil card, some addictive behavior, some self-destructive behavior. Yeah, self-destructive behavior I see here. Tormenting yourself. And then in your current state, and then it looks like you just had this like stubbornness. No, I'm fine. No, this is fine. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. This is fine. This is fine. Everybody gets up and starts drinking at 8 a.m., right? That's fine. That's fine. I'm fine. I don't have a problem. So this is denial. This is the denial card. You've been in denial. So this is where you're at right now. You're very stubborn. You may have like started actually to grow past this. But I don't know. This is denial. This is like there's a big problem here. There's a big issue, a big problem, a big destructive energy in your life somehow in your recent past, and you're stubbornly clinging to it. Your intuition's this tiny little moon back here, and you've got your back turned to it on top of that, and you've got your swords here just crossed, and you are just solidly not budging. You're not moving. You're basically in hell. You're creating your own hell, and you're just there's a refusal. Man, these flowers looked so pretty, and now this reading is just like hell. Like, okay, so but we've got more reading to do, so stick with me here. So 2 of Swords, blocked, not moving, very stubborn energy, refusing to listen to your intuition. So it's denial. Your brain knows something. You know something. You know something's not good for you, or you know the path. Like we were talking about this being in any kind of energy that interferes with your ability to. It could be an addictive energy or something like that, that interferes with your ability to listen to that intuition, to listen to your higher voice, to listen to your higher power calling to you, right? That's why some of the first steps in any anti-addiction program are going to be reconnecting with your higher power, because this addiction separates you from that. You get separated from your intuition, from your better self, your higher power. You get separated from that, right? And so here you are refusing to move. You're in denial here, refusing to move, refusing to budge, refusing to even look at this. But it's there, and you know it. You know it's back there. You know it's back there. And unfortunately, you're watching this reading, which is like a direct call out of you being stubborn and you being refusing to listen to your intuition and refusing to connect with that, refusing to look at it. Denial is fine for a period of time. It's great. It protects us from stuff we're not ready for, from information we're not ready to hear. Like oftentimes, yeah. Anyway, you know, oftentimes when you're explaining the world to kids, people are like, oh, how much should I explain? The truth is kids have this dynamic going on perfectly. They tune out anything they're not ready for, and they pay attention and latch on to anything that their little brains are ready to like process. But anything that's over their head, it's over their head. I mean, I grew up watching the Muppet Show, right? And I thought it was hilarious, whatever. I went back and watched it as an adult when it became available online, and it's wild. It is inappropriate on so many levels, but that all just went straight over my head as a kid, because I was like, I wasn't ready to hear it. I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't ready to hear it. So that's what we're talking about here with denial being fine. It's okay, but then there's a certain point, and here's the point, when you're harming yourself, when you have to pull out of this denial, you have to look at this intuition, this thing that you've walled off. So denial is very funny, because some part of your brain does know. It knows, and it walled it off. That's the concept between, I think it's The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, where they wall off this body, and then they can still hear the heartbeat. So you can be in denial all you want, but this moon's still shining. That heart is still beating behind that brick wall. I think that's what it was. It's been a while since I read that. So anyway, this is just a stubbornness, a refusal. You're blocked. You're not letting anything in. You're maintaining your denial, your refusal to even look at that moon of intuition, so tiny in the sky, you're not even willing to look at it. It looks like a seed. It looks like a tomato seed, really, just up there, and you're just not. You're refusing. You're refusing. Man, you're stubborn. Holy crap. Virgos do have, there's a couple, do have a reputation for that, I've heard. And then we have, in your inner landscape is the Hermit. So, you may be, this card is about getting in touch with that intuition. This card is about looking at the moon. This card is looking at your North Star and following it. This is St. Francis of Assisi, who became a saint largely because he talked to animals. Now, he did not become a saint because he did what he was supposed to do, and he kept doing the same thing over and over again. He became a saint somewhat ironically because he followed his own true heart, his own path. It was unique to him, completely unique, and he followed it. And it didn't happen overnight, and he didn't become a saint overnight. Maybe he did. I don't know the whole story, but he didn't become a saint overnight. This card is about following your own intuition, getting in touch with that. So you may be starting to realize, with this card being present here, calling you out on your intuition, on your refusal to acknowledge something. This may be, hoping and also being quite afraid of opening that door, breaking down that wall, and letting that heartbeat speak to you, letting your intuition speak to you, letting your divine higher self start talking to you, start telling you who it is you really are, getting in touch with that. That's what the Hermit card is all about. It's dropping all the labels, dropping all the habits, dropping all of that, and just this very raw, it's you looking you in the eye, because you're the Hermit, right? There's nobody else here. And in general, I'm not talking compassion wise, but in general, that's all it is. We're all just looking at ourselves in the eye all the time, of just like, the world is sort of a giant Rorschach blotch, and we bring our own self and our own interpretation to literally everything, including our own selves. Yeah, it's a hall of mirrors, right? So you may be afraid of this. This is in your hopes, fears, and inner landscape. You're thinking about it, and you might be very afraid of getting in touch with your own North Star. You might be afraid of seeing how far off your path that you've gone. You may be afraid of seeing, who you really are. You might be afraid of that, and worried about reconnecting with that intuition, because who are you? Like, if you are really lost touch with that, it can be very frightening to try to get in touch. But there's also some part of you that's hoping to reconnect with yourself and reconnect with your true path and with who you really are. So that's in your hopes, fears, and you're definitely starting to think about that, and you may be very worried about what you're going to find when you shine that light within. And you start getting in touch with your own North Star. You may be a little bit worried. But as Manny, what is it? Laura Ingalls Mary's Manny Wilder said, you can't learn any younger, right? So you can't go back in time and undo what you've done, but you can start today. And then what's at issue is this Knight of Swords. So in the upright, this is very bold, very brave activity, behavior, slaying a dragon, coming in here for the good of all. The knight is, working for the kingdom, for the realm, for everyone, very brave, a little bit rash. But this Knight of Swords comes in incredibly courageously with truth, with honesty, and with communication, but we're getting it in the reverse. So this is such a specific feeling storyline. We're getting it in the reverse here of, so what do we have? A lack of courage. You don't want to see this. You're afraid of your own North Star. You're almost afraid of your own shadow here. Lack of courage, lack of honesty with yourself is what I'm seeing with the rest of this reading. Lack of honesty with yourself, lack of courage, lack of moving forward with what you know. Like, you're just going to let this dragon, or somebody here is just going to let this dragon eat the village, rather than take action and take movement forward with what they know, with who they are. This is a knight. Like, his DNA is that he is brave, and that can sometimes translate into a little bit rash, but He's brave. So there's a lack of courage going on here to really face what's going on, face this intuition, face this part of yourself that's trying to get to you, is trying to wake you up, and you don't have the courage to face it. And that's what's causing this problem, is a lack of bravery and a lack of courage, a lack of honesty. All of these virtues that we're talking about, these Victorian virtues, the core, the base of them all, the foundation of all of those virtues is courage. Because it takes courage to be compassionate. It takes courage to understand others. It takes courage. New beginnings take courage. It takes courage to be gracious. It takes courage to be benevolent. It takes courage to save the village, to save yourself. It takes courage to tell the truth. It's the base, it's the foundation of all of those virtues, is strong courage. And then in your environment, you have this Nine of Cups. Somebody around you has some satisfaction. There's some emotional satisfaction going around you. You may be able to see it. You may be able to see that other people have this, are emotionally satisfied, emotionally stable, proud of their abundance, proud of what they have. Look at this little domestic scene. This person, you know, they have their dog, they have the baby, they've got their bird, their magpie here. Bird of communication. They're communicating their emotional health and well-being and their happiness. Someone got their wish fulfilled. Someone's got what they want and got it in hand. My guess is it took some courage here. So this situation, you could be jealous of what somebody else has. You haven't had the courage to go for it, but you could be jealous and envious of the emotional fulfillment that someone else is enjoying around you. You could see that and you could want that. Unfortunately, you're not, so far, haven't been willing to move off this stool here. It's like shit or get off the pot here. It's kind of the vibe. Not the vibe, but it's just like you're not, it's what someone wants to yell at you. Like, get moving. You want this? You gotta have the courage. Man, this is coming out. See, this is what I was saying at the beginning. These messages are really almost medieval in their force and in their intensity. To me, that's how I'm experiencing this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never say this to somebody, but then that's just not how I am in person. But reading these cards, it's just getting medieval on your ass here. So, all right, so your to-do list shocks me and surprises me. This is not what I was expecting. Your to-do list is to juggle some things. This is usually about work-life balance. Get juggling. So if you've been a workaholic, you got to get juggling here. You got to add another coin to the mix. Add something else to the mix. You need to add in the relationships to your mix. If you've been obsessed with a relationship or something, maybe start focusing on your work a little bit or something. So this is not necessarily things getting in balance. This is just juggling. Sorry, my phone did its thing. So you can't always take your lover to work or whatever, you know, but you got to start bringing some balance in. Bring some balance in, because this is a way out of balance vibe I see going on here so far. So get some balance, bring something else in the mix. I was really expecting something else here, but you're going to have to juggle some things. And there's some tumult here. Yeah. There's some danger, some tumult. We've got like a sailboat that's about to like crash into some sort of ravine here. You know, it looks like something maybe, there's two boats here. One is really big and one is really small, but those need to start coming into balance, because that imbalance there is creating a lot of this tumult and a lot of this difficulty that you're having. And so you got to keep these things in motion, though. So this is not sitting down, not settling, not this is just how it is, not accepting the status quo. This is, you got to keep things moving, keep things in motion, keep juggling some things. It looks like you have, it looks like you have a lot of things to juggle, and right now they're out of balance. And I don't necessarily mean to be saying like we need to have them in some sort of static balance, because that's not what this card's about at all. This is about juggling things, and right now you're just, you may be just juggling. I don't know how the metaphor breaks down eventually, but as they all do. But you got to keep things moving and keep things balanced. Not balanced, but when you're juggling, you're handling each ball equally. You're not handling one ball more than the other. You're handling them all equally, right? They're all in your hand for the right amount of time, and then you let them go and you keep moving through it, right? So there needs to be some juggling here, but right now it looks like you're just holding a ball while the rest of them are on the ground. So you're being called to, your to-do list is to get juggling, get your balls in the air, handle them all equally. I don't know why that's very funny to me. I'm blushing here. I guess my brain did some sort of imagined something else here. So anyway, where you're going is this Ten of Cups card. My Victorian, I'm an inner Victorian here, so I'm blushing. Ten of Cups card here. This is ultimate emotional fulfillment. You're going to find a lot more fulfillment by bringing some balance into your life than you have. So someone else, they've got the Nine of Cups, but where you're going once you start, I think you need to have a rebirth and a new beginning and reintroduce this other ball to your juggling system. I think you got to reintroduce a new ball into this juggling system. And then you end up with the Ten of Cups. And the interpretation on this deck is it's both emotional and monetary fulfillment. You've got your house, your home back here, your land, your property. There's wealth here. And then there's also emotional wealth and a lot to love and a lot of fulfillment. This is the Ten of Cups. So you need to bring some balance in here. And then there's going to be a lot of emotional fulfillment. You're going to be able to juggle everything. So I think this is here to say that you can juggle everything, but you need to add something to the mix. You're not juggling everything. You're not, there's something that's fallen by the wayside here that you need to add into the mix because there's a real imbalanced energy. And I love this reading, which is we start here with this horrible energy, this imbalanced, destructive energy. So I hope you have a wonderful week, Virgo. Thank you so much for your likes, your comments, and subscribes. I'd ask you what you think of these new cards. They're a little intense, right? But if you have negative things to say about them, you can just keep it to yourself. I'll cycle through to another deck someday again. So anyway, I hope you have a great week.